Berlin, Berlin, du bist ein heißes Pflaster. Wer dich nicht kennt, verbrüht sich leicht den Fuß. Wo die Moral wohnt, wohnt auch gleich das Laster. Und der Verriss blüht neben süßen Schmus. Das ist Berlin, wie es weint und wie es lacht.
Bin ein Berliner.
Welcome to My Berlin. This week I'm going to meet Aloysius Itoka, the wonderful actor. He's going to show me My Berlin, and he told me that we're going to start here in the Kultur Forum, where is the old paintings exhibition. And all that we're going to see now on My Berlin with Aloysius. Come on. Before I meet Aloysius, I like to show you a trailer from his newest movie, Der Schwarze Nazi, where he plays the Black Nazi. This independent movie has been shown in several art house cinemas in Europe. Now it is time that I meet Aloysius at our first stop in the old painting
wenn ein
exhibition.
Afrikaner die Ideologie von Wutbürgern übernimmt?
Aloysius, hello.
Hello, Raquel.
It's nice to meet you.
Yeah, nice seeing you again.
Yes,
Yeah.
thank you for showing me this beautiful place here in the Kunstgalerie.
Yes, I don't know how they say it in English, but German, the Gemäldegalerie is a very important spot in my life. I come here whenever I have the chance, and I'd like to show you a couple of things here.
Okay, let me ask you. It's your favorite spot of the life for My Berlin. It's an important museum for Berlin. When did you come to Berlin?
Well, I got to Berlin in November of 1989. I had actually bought my ticket in October, and then in the beginning of November, the wall fell.
Oh.
And so I ended up coming to Berlin after the fall of the wall. But this Gemäldegalerie is something that I just discovered not very many years ago, only about 5 years ago, because they have like what they call the Museum Island in Berlin, and there are most of the museums. But this one is separated, and it's become my favorite museum in Berlin.
Well, I think I'm going to learn a lot today from you.
Okay.
And before we get into more, when you came to Berlin in '89 in October?
Yeah, November.
No,
November.
before you, after
right.
the wall came down, you came to Berlin.
Right.
And I'm going to hear about it more later on.
Okay.
But now you're going to show me your favorite Gemälde.
Yes, of course I will.
Yeah, let's
Let's
go.
go this way.
Painting Gallery boasts one of the world's most important collection of European painting, ranging from the 13th to 18th century. Masterpieces from all epochs in the history of art are on permanent display here. The exhibition is especially proud of its strong collection of German and Italian paintings from the 13th to 16th century, and painting from the Low Countries dating from the 15th to 17th century. So now we're in front of your favorite picture. Tell us who that is.
Well, it's one of my favorite pictures, and it's usually the first stop when I get in here. It's from Dürer, and if we look over here, we see that it is a picture of a guy named Hieronymus Holzschuher, and there's something really interesting. If you look at his eyes, you don't really know where he's looking, and Dürer had something that he did with how people are looking, the angle of how the head is. Because the old pictures in the medieval times, they were almost square. They were just on the side or directly in the front. You see there's a little twist in the body.
Really interesting.
A very, very interesting portrait, yeah, I think.
And how come you are so interested in those Gemälde?
Yeah, I knew I would have to answer this question, so I thought about something. The thing is, as an actor, a lot of actors decide that they go to movies or to the theater to get inspired. I like pictures for my inspiration because they let my fantasy then free. I'm not caught in a certain text or anything like that. So I use a lot of Malerei, a painting, and I use a lot of music to get my inspiration for my roles.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's great. This painting exhibition has over than thousands paintings?
At least, I didn't really research it. As I said, I didn't really know anything about this museum. Just a friend of mine once told me, you have to go there. And I came, and since then I always come here. And I find it wonderful. So there's a second stop, which I think is very important, that I'd also like to show you.
I'm looking forward to it.
Okay.
Let's go.
Yeah, so in this room, this is one of my favorite paintings of all time. It's connected also to my time as a dancer. And if you see, there's something that happened at this point in painting. I'm not an art historian, so I don't know exactly what, but the body starts to look really real. It's not, like that kind of quadratic and very one-dimensional. It becomes like more three-dimensional. It's almost like you feel this body coming off the painting.
Yeah, like 3D.
Right, it's like 3D. And what's also totally amazing about it is, it's the story of Heiliger Sebastian as he is being killed. He's turned into a martyr, and they shoot bows and arrows at him. And this twisted position is something we used to work on when I was a dancer. It's actually, you can feel this position from inside, how the body twists like this. And I don't know how Rubens was able to get this model to do this position totally perfectly, that is related to how, a dancer so moves his body,
That's too bad that they didn't have back then making offs.
Right, exactly. He could tell us how he did this.
It's very interesting. You make me see paintings differently.
Yeah, well, I learned, I think it's something we all learn. In the beginning, many years ago, 30 years ago, I always used to think, why do people go to museums and look at old pictures? I didn't know. But after you start going, you almost develop like a relationship with certain paintings. Sometimes I come in here and I feel like, like an old friend that you haven't seen in a long time. You have to see this painting one more time,
It's really, really beautiful, and I'm so glad that you showing me those paintings and let me get a different view of all those paintings. And let's just go around more.
Okay.
Yeah?
Yes.
Okay, let's go.
Thank you.
I'm really, really interested now.
Okay. Yeah, usually I come into this room because the most difficult part about this room is I always forget the name of this artist. He was a Belgian artist. I just saw now about also 1630 something, but his pictures for me are so alive. He didn't work with a lot of colors. As you see, it's almost brown. It almost looks, as you would say, dirty or not lit. But for an actor, they're very, very interesting pictures. If you look at that woman, very, very, mimic, the expression on her face is very, very strange. And I almost feel like how it must be like to be in this bar, because I think she's holding like a whole
This
thing of
also
beer.
could be a man.
On
stage.
Yes, it could be a man dressed as a woman, because we know that in the old days, men were also playing the women roles.
Yeah, Shakespeare, right?
Yes,
I know.
exactly. But maybe that's what is so interesting about that face, because there is something about the face that's masculine.
Yeah.
It doesn't look like a woman. I mean, the only reason I know it is a woman is also because I've seen this picture a couple of times. Yes, it's amazing.
And then he draws some stills too, which I think it's also nice. I mean, they tell a lot about the lightning, about everything.
Yeah, and that you don't have to have, wild colors and all of that you can just, because it looks like he's only using silver, brown, and white and cream. He's not even using more than 4 colors or something like that.
So I've seen a lot.
Thank you for
now,
coming.
Yeah, thank you for showing me this beautiful place. I have to admit, I've never been here, but you could tell. And now we're going to go with my car to the next spot.
The next spot,
The
right.
theater, the
English Theater Berlin.
And you're going to tell me a little bit more in the car.
Okay, wonderful. I'll be happy to.
Let's go.
Okay.
Aloysius, come on in. Welcome in my car.
Yes, it's a very nice car. There's a lot of room.
Yeah, thank you. Let's fasten seatbelt, right?
Yes.
Yes. Now we're going to go to the theater.
Right, exactly.
So Aloysius, tell me about when you first got to Berlin. What did you remember?
The only thing I really remember about Berlin is that I had been to Berlin already on vacation in '87. And I had read about the city, and they said that the center of the city was Europa Center, you know? And I walked over there from the zoo. I came to Berlin in '87 and walked over there. And then I thought, okay, because, you know, I had been to Paris and London, and I had lived in New York, and I thought, oh, this is already just the center of Berlin. So
It was a little bit small?
it was just a little bit, yes, very
That's
small. And so I decided, when I came in '89, I ended up completely in a different place in Berlin. We stayed at friends in Wedding, at where Leopoldplatz is.
Yeah.
And I very slowly found out the secret of Berlin. The secret of Berlin is that when you come to Berlin as a tourist, you don't see this one face of Berlin. Berlin has very many faces, and they're very secret. You have to know people to take you to these places. It's always a surprise to find places.
You think
in
it's
Berlin.
still like that, or it
Probably
changed?
not, because there are a lot more tourists and a lot more tour guides about Berlin. When I came to Berlin, there weren't a lot of tour guides about Berlin. There were just people who knew, insiders, who knew where to go in the city and where to have a good time, you know, what bars to go to. But I also came to the city at a time when things were changing very fast. I was a dancer at the time. And the first thing I always did when I came to Europe is I found out where the dance studios were. Because this was also then a social life. You got to meet other dancers, and you got to learn to meet people in the business. So yes, I went to a couple of dance studios in the city.
Even in the East, or was it mostly in the West?
Also in the East. And believe it or not, I still had at that point a passport of Liberia, and I had to pay 5 D-marks to get a visa to go to the Staatsoper and take ballet classes. Yes.
Wow. So Aloysius, we're almost there at the theater.
Right.
You're having a play there. What is it all about?
Well, this play is written by an African American that lives in Brooklyn, as you know, which is part of New York, my old hometown. Her name is Amy Evans, and in about, I think it was 2008, there was a case of a refugee who, lost his life, I'll say, in a jail cell in Dessau.
Is it a true story?
It's based on a true story.
Yeah,
it's
I
a
remember.
fictional. His name was Uri Jallo.
Yeah.
And it was very, very covered in the press.
Wow.
And this American writer decided to do a play about this. It's not directly a documentary, but there are very realistic elements also in the play. And for me, I don't play theater that often. I've been in Germany for how many years now? 27 it will be this year. And I've done theater 4 times. So I always really pick out only very special theater projects that I want to be a part of. And this was something I definitely wanted to be a part of, because my role is, I think, a very good role. It's a very interesting role.
And it's being played completely in English. That's what the English theater is known for.
Exactly, they're known for that. I've been coming here over the years. When I first got to Berlin, I came much often. In the last 10 years, I would say I haven't been here that much. But I just was at a point in my career when I decided maybe now is the time to do some theater in English also.
Great.
Yeah.
And this is perfect for our show. We're going to go in, and then I'm going to show a little bit of the play.
Okay.
And then we're going to talk a little bit more.
Okay.
Yes.
Good.
Das ist Berlin, wie es weint und wie es lacht.
Bin ein Berliner.